Good morning, retail traders. I want to go over some of my top marijuana cannabis picking stocks for this coming week. We've definitely seen increase in volume on these trades, and I pointed that out about a month and a half ago. And just seemed like they legalized it here in Missouri now, so it should be around for recreational use in a couple of months. And then just recently they passed a bill, Biden did. Joe Biden signs a marijuana research bill into law. Historic moment for federal cannabis reform, which I think is good for the sector alone. It's been on the back burners. I think half of Americans have tried it, and a big majority of them still smoke it. And it's just going to open up the doors to research. Going to give ideas on what to look for. The bill is so I'm quite excited. The passage of the Marijuana and Cannabis Research Expansion Act, it is seen as many as a shift of attitude towards federal policy in cannabis. This bill will direct the Health Department and Human Resources to identify policies to inhibit cannabis research and to recommend how to overcome those barriers. There are barriers, and most of it's just attitude right now, but there's a lot of good things that come out of cannabis. Plus there's probably some bad things that come out of cannabis. Just depends on who's doing what. So I'm going to go over a few of the watch lists that I do have on this sector here, and I've kind of had this watch list going on for many years. And I want to go over a few of the top ones that I like and the volume that I think are good to watch, and try to find a few supports in them watch list. So we'll get right to the chart. We'll clean this baby up. I'm going to move this over to the side for right now. We're going to start off by looking at the yearly charts. This is TLRY. This is my watch list. I'm going to go over these high volumes first, and then there's a couple down in here that aren't moving as well. They're starting to move, and they're starting to pick up a little bit in volume, but they're ones that we need to watch to keep her going. So first one off the list is TLRY. Now TLRY broke the 200 SMA. This is the second attempt to try to do that. So the way that I use my sneaky snake trading strategy is off moving averages and chart patterns. Right now we're in an upward trend. It's been going on for about a month and a half, 2 months. And we're getting higher highs and higher lows. So we're going to use the 200 SMA as a support level on TLRY. And I'm going to draw that line respectively, probably right around the 427 area. But let's go to the 20-day 1 hour chart. It makes pretty much sense. We've got this peak right here, so that's going to be your first support right at 446. We're looking for ideas to get into the trade. We don't really want to chase them. So we're going to go off the body of this candle right here for TLRY right at 446. Then our next support level is going to be right down here, right around that 434 area. That'll be your second support. And somewhere in your strong buy is going to be right around 420. What a coincidence, huh? 420 would be the perfect number to get into this trade. So we're going to put it in, we're going to tap it right at 423. Now if all them three supports and you get down to the third one and holds, I think it has a good opportunity to jump back up and hold and break past this here resistance that we have right now. Today's resistance is going to be right around 465. Now if you go long on this trade, we'll go back to the yearly chart. And I'm looking at this little area right up in here for a pivot point area, right around 515. So that'll be your hard resistance. The next one on the list is CGC. We're going to clean the chart up. We have a real hard resistance right in here, right around 424. And that's right at the 200 SMA. So if it decides to break the 200 SMA this week or in the coming weeks, your next resistance is going to be right around this area right in here. And I'm going to say right around 487. And then long for a hard resistance to break, which would be 565. Those are your three support levels. The idea for the pullback for low support is right around 367 to hold. If that holds, you're still bullish, and you can run it back up and try to break that 200 SMA. This is the second time now. We did kind of bust past it this week. We could see, we actually tried to bust past it Friday. So if we get up here and we break this resistance at 441, past the 200 SMA, that's going to be your standing support, number 1, 2, and then down here at your low at 367. This is CGC. I really like this stock. We've run this stock up pretty much before. The next one that's volume high, it had 12 million on Friday, is SNDL. She needs to run up and find resistance at 357, and that's right before you get to that 200 SMA. That 200 SMA will be a resistance to try to break. If not, it'll pull back to the 321, and then your low support at 282. I do like Sundial. I think it's a great one to watch. SNDL. Keep her on watch. See if she breaks at 357 this week, if we can buzz past this barrier of 321. Here's another one that's had some magnificent news here lately. This was pointed out to Doob in our room. It's called MSOS. Last Friday, we almost touched the 200 SMA, which is a resistance level from this here peak we had right here. So that's going to be kind of hard to break. If it does break it, it could move on up to a higher level of right around 414. Now the low support to stay bullish in this trade, if it pulls back to right around 1239 area, it could still be a very good buy, and try to bring it back up to the 200 SMA to break that 200 SMA. Here's another one that's on our watch list. It's called MMNFF. Now this one's definitely at a low. The volume, it's a penny stock, so the volume's kind of low on it. We'll just pass that one on by. The next one that I do really like a lot, this is on the top of my watch list, and that's GRWG. GRWG. She's had a real good run. I really like the momentum on this trade. I think it can go a lot higher. I really do. It's one of my favorite ones right now. It outdoes TLRY, which I call Hillary. So your resistance on this one right here, GRWG long, will be two of them. You got 949, and then you got the double top up here at 1065. So, and then your next resistance level, I'm looking at this previous history right in here, and I'm thinking right about in here is going to be a pivot point inside of this Darvis box. See this long 3-month Darvis box right in here? We're going to color that in. So that's what we're playing to. And that low support's right there. And I'm going to change this to a different color. Put it on the default. So we got 3 different resistance levels. This other one's going to be right in here, right at 835. Then the bottom of that Darvis box is right there at 719. So we're going to magnify this back up to where it was and see where we are here. So we're definitely moving up to the pivot point channel inside of the box. You have a hard resistance right here. Let me see if I can read that better. The 848. The bottom of the box is 719, so that will now become solid support to hold. And then if you can break the 848, 949, and then 1065. I really do like the momentum on this stock. This should be on your top watch list come this week. GRWG. I'm going to bring it to the 20-day and see if I can find anything else different in here. Your low solid support, if it does decide to knife on us, no lower than 673 for a very strong buy. But she's had a real good breakout. It could go up one more day and then start to consolidate to the right. So keep a good eye on this baby, GRWG. And then one of my favorites that I've traded a long time, and that's CRON. CRON's also had a nice little run off the signing of this bill. and we did hit my resistance level of 346. Now I think this stock can go a lot higher. We're going to look at the yearly chart. This is the yearly chart right now. We've been in a very long Darvas box for a very long time in this trade, and that low support is right around 281. I really can't see it pull back that way, but if it does, I would load up long. I'm repeating, I would go long at 279 and hold it back up to the top of 346. Now what we need to break resistance level is going to be this here idea right here at 358. If we see that next week, this coming week, we could take this stock higher to the next two levels up here, which I think is a solid resistance right around 405 and then right around this 426 area. So if it does break, it looks to me like it wants to break the Darvas box. This has been a year-long Darvas box, and it used to be one of my favorites, but it kind of fell down a little bit, went below where it should be. The pivot point in this Darvas box is right about here, so we're going to draw a trend line in there too for your first support. I'm thinking right in here. We're going to put a red line on that one. Just keep tabs of it, because if it does pull back to that, like I said, I can't see it dropping down to the bottom of the box anymore at 279. But I sure can see it pulling back to 316 and being a solid support. And that's going to be CRON. The next one on the list is MJ. This is an ETF, I think. No? Yeah, it is. It's an ETF. We got to get up here to 685 for resistance level at the 200 SMA. I'm going to draw a trend line right there with a solid support right here off this here candle. And that's going to, let me just clean this up. We'll start fresh. This is definitely broke out into an ascending triangle. You see the ascending triangle pattern? So that solid support is at 590. If 590 holds, it can come back up here and retest and try to hit that 200 SMA, which is a pivot point on the chart. And that's going to be right around the 690 area. And then come back down and try to find some kind of channel down here. But this is what you call an ascending triangle breakout. 1, 2, 3, boom! So I think this can go to 690 and then pull back and find a solid support at 590. And that's going to be MJ. Another good one on here that I like to watch is CURLF. This is under the $1 million volume for last week or last Friday. But we did hit a resistance level at 747, 746. That's a double top. I think it can pull back a little bit, find support no lower than 677. Right in here, where that top was right here. We did break the 200 SMA a long time ago. This one's had a good run up. So the resistance to break will be right around 746. With your solid support in this channel right in here between 640 and 677. If it goes any lower, maybe the third support no lower than this right down here off the 200 SMA at 604 will be a very strong buy to hold on to this stock. Now I'm a scalper, so if these trades start to look good or they pull back and I get a good opportunity and I make a good profit, as a day trade, I'm going to get out of the stock and let them pull back. One thing that I will tell you about the history of the pot stocks when I played them is they have a good run and they pull back. But these runs have overextended that life period, which I think they're gaining support and they're holding up their momentum. There for a while, if they broke out, you'd want to get out of the trade, take profit, and buy the dip again. But I'm seeing a real nice pattern in all these pot stocks right now. They're holding up well. This one pulled back to that pivot point area inside of this here Darvas box. They've all been in almost a year-long Darvas box, and they're breaking out of them boxes. So that's a real good sign to me that we could be going into maybe a bigger trend in this here stock era. So let's get on it. Let's keep a good eye on these. Joe Biden, the only thing he's done good, in my opinion, is the marijuana research bill and a few things like that. everything else has gone to hell. So let's go ahead and have a great day, and I wish you a lot of luck next week. Yabba dabba doo, retail traders.